WGEM News. This is a Decision 2020 special report. The Iowa Caucuses. Here are Alexandra Carter and Dylan Austin.
Good evening. The caucuses are underway tonight.
The race to the White House begins in our own backyard in Iowa tonight, and we have team coverage.
Don Dwyer is live in Fort Madison with Lee County Democrats.
And Blake Salmon in Keokuk with Lee County Republicans.
And Taylor Vessel is in Des Moines, where we'll learn the winners later tonight.
And our coverage begins with WGEM's Don Dwyer. Don?
Dylan, good evening. It is starting to heat up here in Lee County. We're in Fort Madison in the cafeteria. You can see the registration tables have started with people already looking to sign themselves in. Then we've got the parties with each candidate getting themselves ready. We've got Biden over here. We've got Warren next to it, setting up their tables, and also caucus for Pete. But this wasn't the first caucus of the day. There was a caucus earlier in the day at the Keokuk Labor Temple. It was the satellite caucus. 9 residents caucused and showed support for Bernie Sanders, Pete Buttigieg, and Amy Klobuchar. Now, one resident wanted to support Elizabeth Warren, but he couldn't because he couldn't get 15%, which would have taken another person to jump on board. So he had to realign to Sanders.
Disappointed that there was no one else here for Elizabeth Warren, because Elizabeth Warren has done a lot more thinking on all the little issues that make up the presidency.
The caucus lasted about 45 minutes, and the Bernie Sanders supporters put in a platform proposal to limit term limits for senators and congressmen. They felt that Washington needed a change in leadership. Now, you can start registering in about 25 minutes. It's already getting crowded in here. It's supposed to be the largest Democratic precinct in Lee County. We'll break it all down for you tonight at 10. For now, live in Fort Madison, Don Dwyer, WGEM News.
Okay, Don, thanks so much. Other side of the aisle, while President Donald Trump is the likely nominee, there are Republican challengers tonight.
WGEM's Blake Salmon is live with Lee County Republicans at a caucus site in Keokuk.
Guys, that's right. I'm here at the cafeteria of Keokuk High School. Now, there are a couple of items on the ballot for caucus goers here tonight. Of course, the first, obviously, is the presidential preference list. But another one is to select delegates and alternatives for conventions, both county and state, as well as electing people to the Central Committee. Now, organizers here say it's crucial that people get out, come to the caucus, and make their voice heard.
Yes, I do. I want people to remember that elections do matter. In 2018, Republicans did not go to the polls like they should, and that's how we ended up with a House that was a Democratic majority, and that's why we have all the issues that we have going on now.
Some things government should do.
Well, as you mentioned before, there are 2 Republican challengers looking to steal the nomination from President Trump. Those are former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld, as well as former U.S. Representative Joe Walsh. We're talking to caucus goers tonight to find out how that's going to affect them and their choice. Reporting live in Keokuk, I'm Blake Salmon, WGEM News.
Okay, Blake, thanks so much. Now, all of these results collected, and then they eventually make their way to Des Moines tonight.
WGEM's Taylor Vessel has more from the site where all of that takes place.
With each Iowa caucus and at each and every precinct, a candidate is looking for 15 support of the room, making them viable. This year, things are a little different. That threshold still exists. However, if someone joins a group in the first round that's viable, they are locked in, unlike past years where they could be swayed to throw support behind someone else. I spoke with a political scientist professor today who's curious if that could create a large uncommitted group, making campaign activists even more important.
And then in the initial preference group formation, those who can generate enthusiasm in the room and persuade people to come to your group in the first instance, right? But then also during the realignment period, so if a group is not viable, they have a chance to realign and join some other candidate's group.
This year we'll also get raw vote totals from the first and final rounds, which the campaigns could spin as success regardless of viability. And speaking of viability, no choice or uncommitted can also be viable. In fact, it happened in 1976 with President Jimmy Carter coming in second to the uncommitted category, and he's the man that many attribute as to why the Iowa caucuses are so popular. So if, like the caucus goer tonight, is nervous about being locked into a candidate too soon, they could just as easily be locked into that uncommitted category. Reporting in Des Moines, Taylor Vessel, WGEM News.
And we invite you to stay with WGEM News this evening. We will have comprehensive coverage of the results as they come in tonight on WGEM.com, along with live reaction tonight on WGEM News at 10.